Hey, what's up guys? George back here again, and today we're going to continue work on our 240SX drift car. Now the biggest thing that we're going to be working on today is suspension. And more so, we got this nice pair of coilovers here. These are the ICE HR Pro coilovers, as you can see here. For the money, it's pretty much the best stuff you can get. And the guys over at Faction Motorsports hooked me up with a deal. So I decided, why not? Might as well. Gonna have to get them anyway, and why not now? So we got them, we're going to go ahead and throw those into the car, and then we're going to work on some other things as well. So hopefully very soon we'll be getting coilovers, and in preparation for that, I'm going to go ahead and tuck the wiring harness. We've got the body harness here, which goes right under the fender well, and when your car is very low and it's like banging on that, we don't want it to rub through the harness. So we're going to go ahead and undo these clips here, and you go ahead, remove the fender, and we're going to put it up in here. So when our car is so low, it won't rub through the body harness. So it actually kind of looks like someone actually was kind of tucking the harness, because it looks a little bit higher up, and these don't look like OEM zip ties, so I think someone definitely moved it a little bit, because it's not completely under here as I thought it would be, but it's kind of out here, and it's definitely not like this from the factory. But we're still going to cut everything and put it all up here, so we're not going to have any rubbing problems. So we got our zip ties here, and we're just going to go ahead and start sticking the harness up and zip tying it in place and seeing exactly where we want it. And over here I'm thinking we might have to do something about this. So I don't know if the harness is going to fit by the fender around this little hump here, so we might have to cut something out, but we'll see. So I zip tied the harness up here. It's completely out of this area where the tire is going to go. It's above this little lip right here. But right here, you can see the lip is kind of in the way of the harness. And that fender doesn't actually fit on, so I'm going to go ahead and take the angle grinder and just hit this with it. And then this will fit in there a little bit, and the fender will fit on. So I went ahead and cut two little slits right here, thinking that I'm going to move this one over a little bit because there's no way the harness is going to fit through this tiny hole here once I bend this out, but we'll take this piece out and see what we need to do. So instead of just taking this piece out, I ended up just bending it under because it doesn't create like a hard edge here, it's kind of smooth. And I didn't really feel like cutting it off, so there we go. So it's pretty obvious this slit is not big enough. I tried to fit this in how I wanted it and it's not going to go through. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out to about here, and then that should give us plenty of room. So I got this tape on here, and it really is much smoother. I don't think it's going to cut it. And I'm surprised, since this paint is so clean and everything here, it just stuck on. It doesn't feel like it's going to come off at all. So yeah, hopefully that will work a little bit. So now we can actually tuck the harness. Alright, so we finally got the entire fender tucked, and as you can see, there's a little lip that goes underneath most of it. Looks very nice. So if the tire comes up, it'll hit it. We got it all tied up to the fender. This is where we cut our hole, which was very difficult, but I did it, and then held it up under here so it didn't drape down or anything, and then just some extra wires over here. And there you go, that's our fender harness tuck. So right here, as you can see on the right front strut, there are two bolts holding it in, kind of. This one down here has a nut on the end, and this one is kind of just like hammered in. As you can see right there, it's kind of just like someone just bent it and it's kind of just in there. I don't really know how it's in there. But since we're throwing the coilovers on, I figured, might as well get a new bolt here. So that's why we are removing these bolts. So we got the front right coilover here. I'm just going to go ahead and adjust it to what I think will be a good ride height. For now, we can always change it, but I don't really know what to do. So this is what I'm going to do. I just have this little measuring device here I'm going to use to make sure both sides are the same. So now we're just going to go ahead and throw it in, and then we'll be able to adjust everything so it's all nice and straight once we get it in. Once we get everything sorted, we'll torque everything down exactly how it needs to go. After installing the right rear coilover, you can see we have quite a bit of gap here from the tire to the fender. Definitely going to roll the fender at some point. So we're definitely going to have to roll the fenders pretty soon, but there's quite a bit of space in between there. And we're running about maybe -5 degrees of camber in the rear, maybe a little bit more, which is not really what we want right now because, of course, it won't put even wear on the rear tire when we're drifting around. So, definitely going to have to get a new upper control arm in the back because, of course, when you're lowering the car, it messes with the geometry and now everything's all messed up. Once we fix the issue with the negative camber in the back, there's still going to be a bit of space in between the tire and the, whatever this thing is called, the fender. And once we roll it, there will be even more space. And a while ago, since I'm an idiot, I bought these massive wheel spacers. They're like 1.5 inches, which is massive, and they're completely unusable. Because if I were to put them on, I tried it, the tire would pretty much be here. And I'm not going to like pull the fenders out because I don't really like that look. But so I have these. They're completely unusable now. They were kind of cool before until I realized that it pretty much poked the tire out past the fender. And they're completely unusable now that I lowered the car. And they're kind of just, yeah. So they're completely unusable now. I don't know, maybe put them in the front or something. Do something weird with that. I don't know. But I'm thinking maybe to get maybe 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch spacers. And once we roll the fenders and put them on and get rid of this negative camber, we should have some nice fitment. Get that tire real close to the fender. So yeah. So now I'm going to go ahead and roll the fenders. By that I mean I'm just going to hit them with a hammer a lot so we can clear our arches with our lowered car. We have our heat gun here. I'm going to try and heat the paint up so it doesn't crack. It's probably still going to crack, but at least I'm trying. So as you can see, the fender rolling went quite well. It's very rolled, or hammered, whatever you want to say. So, believe it or not, there's a nice new coilover. Believe it or not, it's the same process all around. And on the other side, as you saw before, I did tuck the harness. And on this side, probably going to do it as well, but this one's not as big, so it's not as big of a problem, but I'm going to do it anyway. And so yeah, I'm just going to finish up the rest of the fenders. It's pretty much the same process, believe it or not, on all the fenders. I just decided to start with the front because I care about this fender the least because it's the most messed up. And I can buy a new one on Craigslist for $30. So, there we go. So we're going to go ahead and remove the left rear strut with our coil sleeve thingy on it. And we're also going to go ahead and remove the upper control arm because I ordered a new one on the internet, and when it comes I want to be able to put it in as soon as possible. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and install our new rear upper control arms. These new ones that I got are completely adjustable, so we'll be able to dial out some of our negative camber in the rear because there was so much of it and it was just ridiculous. So we got these, and then we'll be able to throw the coilovers back on the rear and take the car for a rip. Just kidding, I can't drive. So now we're going to go ahead and try and make our new rear upper control arms about the same length as the other ones, and then maybe make them a little bit longer just because we're trying to dial out some negative camber. So of course adding more length to the upper control arm is going to decrease negative camber. So at this point I just purchased rear upper control arms because that's really all I needed at this point. But in the near future I'm probably going to get a kit that includes the rear upper control arms, tow rods, tension rods, traction rods, all that stuff. Maybe a little bit higher quality than what I got, but I'll definitely be getting a kit with everything in it, so then I'll be able to replace all of those things on the car. And we'll get more adjustability, and that'll be good. Alright, so we got the car lowered down, and as you can see, it is pretty low. We're low. The tire is into the fender well, which is nice. But we're tucking pretty hard. We've got about half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch of wheel gap, which isn't really what we want, and it kind of looks dumb. And there's still a stupid amount of negative camber in the back, so I guess I didn't adjust the rear upper control arms right. I didn't really know exactly how far it would make the camber change, how much, so I guessed and I was completely wrong. So we still have a significant amount of negative camber, and we've got a lot of wheel gap here for the back, and the other side is pretty much the exact same because I adjusted everything the exact same as this side. The spacer that I originally bought for the back, it fits pretty much perfectly up front. We have a little bit of negative camber up front, but it's pretty much exactly how much I would want, maybe a little bit more, but I mean, it could probably go down about an inch, half an inch, and the fender would be just right here on the wheel, so we'd have a little bit of tread up in the fender well, but honestly the front is pretty much perfect, and I'm really happy with the offset that the spacers give it. That concludes this episode of the 240SX drift build. Make sure to stay tuned for more, because hopefully we'll be hitting the track soon with the 240SX, because it's pretty much where I want it to be. The only other thing I want to change before I go drifting, I think at this point, is welding the diff, but I mean, it would be nice to have a welded diff, but if I have a chance to go drive the car and I haven't welded the diff yet, I'm not going to say no. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, leave a question down below, comment, suggestion, I will be sure to answer it, and I will see you guys in the next one.